Welcome to the Fantasy HQ podcast, all things NRL Fantasy. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Your hosts, Frosty and Steve-O. Welcome everyone to the Fantasy HQ podcast, all things NRL Fantasy. And on today's podcast, we're going to be talking a bit about our round one and our teams, how we went. And Frosty, are you happy to see round one in the books and unlimited trades are gone? We now have to be thinking wisely and holding on to whatever we can.
Yeah, not so happy about the unlimited trades going, Steve-O, but stoked to have round one in the books. Already looking forward to Thursday night footy on round one. It was awesome to get some success from some of our Fantasy HQ followers. A shout out to Jordan, who went almost the 1K mark, 989, sitting there about the top 1,000 players. Richard, who's been battling away in the 500s to maybe the 600s the last couple of 3 years. He kickstarted his season with an 883 after tuning in over the preseason. Cody went from the 700 marks to a 913, which is great going. And then we had Ethan, who went around the 700 to 800 marks as a first-year player, second-year player last year. And he started with a 956, which is sitting around that 2K mark. So well done there, chaps. And if there's anyone else who's had some success to start the season, drop that in the comments, team.
I was extremely excited to see those scores from those lads because they're in previous years sort of been ones that are just easy wins in a head-to-head league. So good to see that they're getting a bit of insight from us and actually paying a bit of attention. I got a bit of stick from Cody on Connor Watson, but I don't recall us ever promoting Connor as being a buy, but I think Cody got his...
No, you won't see us promoting someone off the bench.
I asked him to give us the receipts, but he can't find it. So I think that's all on him, and that's why he should listen a bit more.
That's right.
Moving on. Anyway, our team. How did we go? We went excellent. We scored 987, which gave us an overall rank of 1,418 with 147k in the bank. And I've got to say, Frosty, pretty happy with that. How about yourself?
Yeah, gee, a bit of money in the bank, but you missed the biggest draw card too, which we got plenty from followers on some private messages and even some comments. We got the big bad man, Terrell Mace, sitting there ready to come in round two. So, the round couldn't have gone much better for us. Super stoked with that. Our pods as well, that we copped a little bit of flack on. Cody Walker, great guns, 52 odd with an 8-minute rest from Bennett at the end. Nat Butcher, a 60. Things are off high and flying and pretty pumped for round two to get the good times rolling.
Yeah, I think it's an ideal way to start, especially with Terrell May in the team, which we were gunning from the start. That was going to be our option. We were going to pod it a little bit. He's only 6.3% owned, so to already have him in the team and scoring, we were hoping somewhere, outside the 10,000 would have been great, but inside it and being inside the 1,500 mark, it's a great way to start. So signs are looking promising. We've already got Ponga, Walsh, Farlago there as our back three, so there's plenty of excitement for us to watch every week.
100%. And I think, the main point there for the coaches is, you got to back your gut at the end of the day, and your team does have to have pods because you can't win fantasy just following the pack. So we've got something that we'll discuss soon, and it just proves you can score successfully when you're going against the pack and blocking out some outside noise.
So seeing our lineup there, is there anyone that's an instant sort of trade out this coming week? We've got 2 trades to make. Is there, sort of any 2 players that you're thinking we don't want to keep, we want to move on?
For me, it's probably right down the bottom there on the bench, Cooper Bye and Fire Money. I think the 2 Titans guys. One Bye didn't quite get the minutes in the role we're after off the bench. It could come, but some of those other cheapies have gone gangbusters and gone massive in round one, and they are looking to make 150 to 200k quick smart in the next 4 rounds. And then Fire Money, he did scrape a 31 or 32 odd with a try and a line break. Didn't make a single tackle, so that really concerns me. If he runs for 150, 170 metres in a game, doesn't score, doesn't make any tackles, he could be staring down the barrel of easily a 12 or a 14 if he misses a couple of tackles or a couple of errors. He dropped a couple of high balls. He's not looking quite as promising as some of those other cheapies.
Yeah, Farmani for myself is someone that I guess is already going to be making a bit of money because he's what, only 31. He was probably priced at what, a 17 for a 230k. So I mean, he has
Yeah.
got 14 points value there. And you'd think he will get better as the season goes, particularly once Jaden Campbell comes back. Cooper Bye, on the other hand, I mean, commentators are raving about him. He should be getting more minutes, and especially in that team where they just don't have a huge amount of X factor. I think Cooper Bye is one that in weeks will get more minutes and sort of get round to being that 40-point scorer. But do we want to wait or do we want to make the quick cash? That's sort of our options we're going to weigh up this week. For
Yeah.
me, the other one is I really want to get Dewey into this team. Um, we'll obviously have to discuss that, but for me, it's potentially a Dewey to a Dylan Brown. But I mean, Dylan Brown broke even with a 37. That's where he's priced at. So Dylan Brown probably had his lowest, like a floor game, and has potential of being that 50-point scorer. So, do we want to waste a trade there? It's, I guess, something we're going to have to consider. But other than that, there's not really any blaring weak spots in this team. I think I actually do genuinely like it. I do think though, using trades early and being aggressive is a great way to not fall behind or to catch up ranks. So I think it's probably the main time of the season to jump on any of those cash cows, the likes of Noah Martin or Ryan Couchman or Joe Chan, whoever is the one that you think is going to have the best position going forward and consistency. They've already got that big score on them, so they're going to be making money going forward the next 4 or 5 weeks. And if you can make, a couple of 100k in the next couple of weeks compared to a Cooper Buy that might take 12 rounds to make a couple 100k, it's worth that trade. So be interesting come TLT what we decide to go, Frosty.
Yeah, definitely spot on there, Steve. I would certainly be recommending to coaches that uh, they are using some trades early doors, especially if you didn't hit a lot of those cheapies that you just mentioned. Leo's another one that's obviously sitting in our centres. And I would be looking at those guys more so than a Ponga. Like Ponga went for an 80 and looked absolutely unbelievable. More general play kicking, goal kicking, so he's got a boost to his base. And he might make 80k, but those guys who you rattled off just before, they're going to make that in 1.5 rounds. And yeah, give them 4 or 5 weeks and they'll have 200k under their belt. So Pong is one that you would have missed. I wouldn't be jumping on. I'd be going the cashies because they'll be making a whole lot more. And then you can get Ponga in after that, once you've made that big coin.
Yeah, it certainly is important to make that money early, and that helps you bring in some keepers down the track or trade out for other up and coming players that are changing roles or making their way into the team. So
Yep.
looking across to our our overall league, we ranked 17th overall in it, but Gatorade Saxophone, he ended up scoring 1,037 points, and this is his team here. That's his starting lineup. A couple of different options to us, which was Latrell Mitchell scoring a 75. Great option there for him and looked pretty good. Yukamano there scoring all right. He got Noah Martin in the side and Couchman, two that are probably targets for us, and was able to loop both of them in. So having that opportunity to loop for him was very important. But he did have to bring in a 12, Alex 12 for it, which, I mean, I'm not sure many players want him in the team, but I guess that's an option there of a trade out 570k. He can basically flip it to anyone because the rest of his team is basically spot on. I think Leilua, maybe you want to reconsider him on the edge, but I mean, at that price, he's going to be making money. So yeah, having that basically red dot for round one was worth the trade.
Yeah, I'll still a flyer. And if you look at the wing fullback there, Steve-O, the three-gun wing fullback option, we spoke about that in one of our preseason videos when we spoke about approaches to the fantasy season. And this is one of the more uncommon ones. So to see this and it go so well early doors, I love to see it. I did try it a couple of years ago myself. It didn't have this success, that is for sure. and I quickly left it behind. But it'll be interesting to see how that holds up. Latrell Mitchell looked fantastic. Again, he's got a bit of general field kicking alongside his goal kicking. Ponga likewise. If Walsh can click into gear, he is well on his way. Didn't have either of the Storm back rows, so it'd be interesting. He could move Alex Twile on to either of those who he fancies there, and then that team is well and truly locked and loaded. So he's looking at probably one trade max, I'd reckon, and away laughing.
Yep, no, excellent team there for Gatorade Saxophone, and hopefully he listens and gets a bit of a shout out there, and is hopefully continues to go pretty well. He's ranked 92 overall, so I'll be backing him to stay up there, stay somewhere close. So not a bad way to start the season. If we look at some of these players here that are the top point scorers, it was actually dominated by a lot of backs, which we did mention is typically not the case start of a season. It's usually more forward orientated. There's a bit of mistakes for the backs, but you look at Hines, he got a hat trick. We both mentioned off podcast we wouldn't recommend taking him with very low kicking meters. I think his base is going to be around those 45s, but always has the opportunity to go for an 84. You got the likes of Damien Cook, definitely not one to pick up now with Little coming back into the team. But if Little was to get injured permanently, or basically be traded or moved to another club in the next couple of weeks, then maybe Damien Cook was an option. And then you got the likes of
Can I just
Yep.
Can I just say this, Steve, on Cook? I mentioned it in the preseason, but this is like a prime example of in the NRL how they run a hooker on the bench when the starting hooker can just do the job for 80 minutes. Like, it just frustrates me to see someone like Damien Cook now either have to like spend 55 minutes on the field and then go to a lock, which isn't really his position, just to do a job for the team, or sit on the bench when he is still an elite hooker who gets through 80 minutes and puts out those sort of performances. Like, yeah, I just don't get it sometimes, but maybe I'm by myself.
I completely agree. Damien Cook should be in the field and not playing lock, if I'm honest. It should be hooker.
Yeah,
The problem is with the Dragons, they've got two really good hookers. Little is really impressive himself, and that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
They would be better off if they were making a trade for another marquee player, Wood Little, from another club. That would be very beneficial for the Dragons and whoever else potentially. So yeah, continuing on there, the backs. There's quite a lot of backs, edges, a couple of halves, but not too many middles starting off the season strong, and that's sort of against what usually happens. So if we look through here, we've got the likes of Ponga, Jenkins, Latrell. You've got Cooler there. You've got halves in terms of Trindle, Munster, Galvin, Hines, Tanner Boyd, all scoring 60 plus. And scrolling the way down, I think the top mid was Trey Mooney, who was our number one must-have to start the season. And there was a lot of talk before round one that he was going to be moved to the bench last minute sort of thing, but ended up getting really good minutes. Scored 66. He was still 43% owned, but he was him and James Fisher Harris were the two best mids.
Yeah, on our positions, I was talking to a mate over the weekend. Must have been Sunday after that last game, and Walsh was at 45% owned, and my personal side, I anti-potted Walsh, which come up good with Dylan Edwards on my side. But then I looked through all the names, and Walsh was actually the only wing fullback gun who did not go for 57 plus in the weekend. Hammer got 57, and then I think after that, Karaz was 61. So you had Karaz, Teddy, Edwards, Turbo, Latrell Mitchell, and Ponga all go 60 plus. Walsh was the only one left out and the most highly owned. So there's just a wee stat from round one.
So speaking about your own team, how did you go this week, Frosty?
Yeah, no, I can't complain. Not quite at the heights of our Fancy HQ side, but I scored 940, which was good enough for 10,907. Went with the pack with Haas. Haas captain, fell a little bit flat. Cleary and Yao battled through. Now, talking about pre-season, I threw it out there early doors. I envisioned the possibility of Yao going down to 65 minutes after all of their years of finals and late runs. And then I ignored that come round one, and what happened? The guy gets 65 minutes. So wasn't happy to see that, and wish I stuck to my my gut there, but such is life. But yeah, I think highlights were Dylan Edwards, the antipod with Walsh, got about 40 points there. And then I went well on most of the cheapies. I missed out on Noah Martin and Leo, but outside of that, I pretty much had the others. So I think 2 trades for myself this week. It'll be Faimani out for Noah Martin, and then I'll look to get Leo in somewhere else as well. I'm not too sure how I managed that one, but definitely Noah Martin in for Faimani. How about yourself there, Steve-O?
Yeah, not quite as good as you. I've just got mine up on screen here. I got a 895, which is held me at about 35,000. Not too far off the mark though. So one good week and all of a sudden you're back inside the top 10k. And pretty happy with the team overall in terms of how's it set up. Missed out on a couple cheapies like the likes of Couchman, who you and I were both tossing up before game one. And I ended up going with Cooper Bye over Noah Martin, which was probably a bit of a mistake. I sort of wanted that position as a one week rental, and I thought, oh, Cooper Bye, I'll just see what he does. If he goes great, he might make some money. And I was always looking to trade that position to Ryan Couchman. But if I had Noah Martin, I basically save a trade straight away until he potentially loses a position. Other than that, I went for a couple sort of, in my eye, safe pods in terms of Will Penasini. I switched him out last minute for from Leo, which cost me, best part of 30 points, which I do regret. And I will be contemplating trading out Penasini this week, although he did hit his break even, so or over, so he's not losing money, and I do think he actually looked pretty good. Along with Cobbo. Cobbo this week has a much easier matchup, so I'm hoping Cobbo can also have a bit of an improved game. But other than that, I mean, I've got Atkinson, I've got Lasati. We took, Mooney, Stewart, those sort of guys that are Lukey, going to make quite a lot of money. I do want to get in a Noah Martin or a Ryan Couchman, and potentially a Leo. So there's a couple names there that I will consider. But I guess that's what's going to be happening over the next few days as I make my mind up.
I think one positive for both of us, Steve-O, is we weren't even at full strength because we both have Adam Dewey sitting there, don't we? So we're envisioning a 55 to 60 average player missing round one. And, we're 40, 50 points off each being at top 1K. So like you said, there's nothing in it. And for us to have that sort of player there round one, I'm more than happy with how we started.
Yeah, no, I can't complain. I mean, no injuries, no one looked terrible in that lineup. And yes, I mean, we both, well, I was contemplating Ponga instead of Walsh. Those sort of ideas could have, put us up to a bigger score. A couple of those little flip decisions, but I mean, Reece Walsh should come out this week against, I think, the Dragons, is it? And
I think they have the Eels Thursday night.
Oh,
40,
Eels,
so he could
yes. He could. I mean, exactly. He could go out and get 75 there. Ponga could have the exact opposite, and have a bit of a shocker, and then all of a sudden it's like, yep, that's why you don't trade out per people after 1 week. You do want to give everyone sort of one or two at least before making rash decisions.
100%.
Other than that, I think that's all we have for tonight, and looking forward to TLT tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching, and we appreciate if you do subscribe, and thank you, Frosty.
Cheers, Steve-O.
We appreciate your support for the Fantasy HQ podcast, all things NRL Fantasy. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify and Facebook, and most importantly, thanks for watching.